Chapter 1. Thou shalt not go to bed with political parties. It was late on a Tuesday night in November, long past the kids' bedtime, yet I could hear they were still up, playing in their rooms with friends. The adults were packed in our living room with a bowl of popcorn and mostly devoured party food scattered across the carpet and sofa table. My friends can be slobs. My wife and I, along with several other couples from church, were leaning into the blue light of the television like mosquitoes to a bug zapper. I glanced around the room at my wife and friends. Some people were standing, some sitting. A few guests were clutching their phones, heads down, refreshing for updates, then scrolling. I found worried faces glued to the TV. One friend had her arms crossed, as if to deflect the pain of what political analysts had predicted. Our night had begun with jokes and laughter, but now, hours later, we were silent, with only the commentary of cable news pundits filling the room. The Electoral College tally was adding up. We saw the numbers on the bottom of the screen, and what those numbers showed was ominous. We started to imagine what life would be like if, heaven forbid, this man came into power as president. Then, it happened. A flashy graphic slid across the screen with a swoosh, accompanied by overly dramatic music. Then the news anchor made the big announcement, affirming as true what the political analysts said might be coming. It was a definitive statement, one that we had worried was remotely possible, but one we didn't dream would actually come to pass. He had won. He was becoming president. The one we had feared. What would become of our country? How could this happen to us? How would we endure life under a person who so clearly did not share our values, our Christian values? How had our prayers not been answered? In the silence of the room, as we absorbed the weight of this news, it felt as if we were under attack. We were about to enter a dark period, 4 years of trial for Christians. We had lost. Imagine more dramatic music here. No one party is perfect. Does this story sound familiar? Or perhaps a complete opposite version of the story would. Replace the emotions of fear and incredulity with expressions of elated joy and thoughts of, "Our prayers have been answered." This story might have real elements for me, but it's a fictional illustration. It's one I've heard before and an idea I've used in sermons. It exposes something that is true for so many of us. We pray, advocate, share on social media, and sometimes we hear sermons about Christian values and what they should mean to us in politics. And yet, our world and seemingly our very lives come crashing down when we see someone come to power who we believe is incompatible with our values. What you may have noticed in the previous illustration is that I intentionally did not include the identity of the candidate who won or the respective party. Many listeners of this book likely identify as Christians, but contrary to what you might have heard, Christians are not a homogeneous group that thinks alike on all matters, including the complex, nuanced world of politics. We possess diverse political views, just like non-Christians. Right or wrong, the way we choose to animate our faith in the world is unique to each of us. So when you heard the election night story, you probably imagined a particular politician or party affiliation as the winner of this nightmare scenario. For some, this outcome could have happened in November 2016. For others, November 2012. Or maybe it was November 2008. Or even November 2004, 2000, 1996, 1992. And while I can't predict who, male or female, will win future elections for the presidency, I can guarantee that this story will play out again in 2020, 2024, 2028, and every future election until the day that Jesus returns to restore all things back unto himself. Many Christians are not only passionate about politics, but are also involved in politics on some level. And yet, I would argue, at times, we are played by politics. At times, our identities and values become distorted, and our hopes misplaced.